Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over to America once again. We're going to go to California and revisit one of the pioneering American craft breweries. So we're going to Chico and we're doing another beer from Sierra Nevada Brewing Company. And this is one that I actually don't think I've ever seen over here in Europe until I got it in Systembolaget about a week ago. So we're going to have a taste of the Hoptimum. And this one is a triple IPA. It comes in at 9.4% ABV. From what I understand, previous versions of this beer have been up at 10.4. And I've actually tried a triple IPA from, I think it was Stigberg, it's in Sweden, and that was something like 11% ABV. So it seems to be the 10-11% for these triple IPAs is quite interesting. So, or it seems to be the one that they all seem to go for. So I'm really interested to try this one and see how it comes out. And as far as I know, this is the first triple IPA that I'm actually reviewing for you on the channel. I might be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure this is the first triple IPA that I've ever reviewed for you. So what better place to start than one of the pioneering American craft breweries. So as always, I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer, and I'll take you through a little bit of a history of the brewery. So if you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Sierra Nevada before. It must be about 10 or so reviews I've done from these guys now. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city or state, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there, of course, for all the American beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, a little bit about Sierra Nevada then. So Sierra Nevada was founded back in 1979 in Chico in California when the founders Ken Grossman and Paul Camusi decided to expand their home brewing hobby into basically a profession, if you like. So Ken had fallen in love with Chico when he visited some friends there, and eventually he moved there and opened up a home brewing store, which was where he met Paul Camusi, and they began home brewing together, and that of course was where Sierra Nevada was born. But together they built much of their own brewing equipment first out of recycled dairy equipment, and then finally in 1983 they officially opened their portfolio with 3 different beers. This of course I think was the Paleo, the Stout, and I forget what the other one was. But over the coming years they continually expanded, and in 1987 they purchased the 20th Street plot, which has been the home of the brewery ever since, with their tap room opening in 1989. But in 1998 Paul Camusi decided to retire, and he sold his share of the brewery to Ken Grossman, so he is the sole owner of the brewery these days, or the main owner, I guess you would say. There probably are shareholders and things like that. But in 2008 they introduced their beer camp event, and since 2010 they've also had a partnership with the new Clairvaux Abbey in Northern California, where they've been trying to produce some Trappist style beers, and apparently in the future that they are hoping that this abbey will become Trappist certified as well, so you may well get some Sierra Nevada Trappist beers, which will be pretty cool. But they've actually been credited by the Environmental Protection Agency as the brewery runs almost exclusively on renewable energy, and today they're producing around 1 million barrels of beer per year, and they've apparently had the same brewmaster since 1983. They do also have a second brewery over in Mills River in North Carolina as well, on the east coast. So the Sierra Nevada beers are pretty widely available these days, and it is cool to see that that such a kind of big craft brewer, if you like, they are still sticking to their roots and kind of maintaining quality and things like that, because that is always one of the fears that comes when little craft breweries start to expand. But Sierra Nevada, as I say, are one of the pioneering craft breweries in America, and they do some pretty awesome stuff. The Torpedo and the Paleo probably are classic beers, if you like. So I'm really interested to try one of their more kind of random ones. The Bigfoot, of course, was one of the first kind of barley wines that was out there in the States as well. So if you get the chance to try any of their beers, if you haven't already, do have a go at them. My personal favourite probably is the Torpedo, to be honest with you, but definitely looking forward to this one. And as I say, all the links to the brewery websites and stuff like that are in the description below for you guys to check out. One thing I should point out about this beer actually is that they have changed the artwork on these. This one and Bigfoot, if I remember correctly, they have modified it this year, and I think the old artwork just had a huge hop cone. It was a similar colour scheme actually. Maybe it had the some more of the lime green in it, but it was a similar colour scheme, just with a huge hop cone in the middle of it. And it says on the back here, our brewers selected the finest, most flavourful hops, pushed them beyond their limits and forced them into this all-new triple IPA. This reimagined Hoptimum is our hoppiest beer yet, providing a blend of tropical and citrus hop aroma that delivers a refined yet aggressive character. We brew in Chico, California and Mills River, North Carolina to bring you the finest quality beer. And the hops in this one are Simcoe, Citra and Chinook, and I believe it was Paleo Malt and Turo that they were using in this one. So there's a few different types of Turo, but on the website it did just say Turo. But like I said, 9.6% sorry, triple IPA. There were previous versions of this that were 10.4, and you can see the little top label there where it says the 2017 edition. So yeah, it should be a really nice one. So without further ado, let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting then. Standard Sierra Nevada bottle cap on this one, incidentally. The dark green one, which I believe is the same one that they put on the Torpedo. The pale ale one I think is a little bit lighter than that. But as you can see, this beer pours a really nice kind of dark orangey amber. It's almost a blood orange amber colour, this one, but it's crystal clear. And that's one of the things you always get with these Sierra Nevada beers. They do tend to be quite clear, but just look at the colour of that. That's a lovely, nice kind of dark blood orange amber. There's a solid finger of a frothy head on this one. I'd say it's more of a cream colour, it has a slight cream tinge to it rather than being a perfect white one. There's a couple of big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass and quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of that head there. But overall it looks really nice. It actually looks very similar to both the Pale Ale and the Torpedo, if my memory is serving me correctly. But a really nice looking beer, and you can see if I put my fingers behind the glass there is quite a bit of transparency to it, but there is a little bit of opacity as well. You can see there's just a little bit of haze. But let's have a closer look at the aroma then and see how we get on. You can smell the booze off that right away. You can smell the booze off this beer. So yeah, there's a good bit of that boozy caramel in there that you'd expect of a double IPA or something like that. There's a bit of biscuity character. You can smell a little bit of breadiness in there as well. And the two row malts that they're using in this, they always give you that nice biscuity and slightly caramelly note. But of course some of that will actually be from the alcohol in this beer. Some of it will be from the yeast as well, right enough. But it smells really nice. You can pick up quite a bit of fruity character, but to me this beer leans more towards the malty side of things rather than the hoppy side. And that may well just be because Systembolaget actually have to hold these beers for a little while. It may well just be because of that. Maybe when it's a little bit fresher it would actually be a bit more hoppy than it comes across. But you can get quite a little bit of the fruit in this. I mean, you can pick up a wee bit of the passion fruit from the Simcoe. There's a little bit of a kind of pine resin and sort of spicy floral aromaticity. I would guess that's the Chinook. The Citra should give you a little bit of mango, but you can't pick up all that much in the way of that. It's definitely passion fruit and grapefruit. The grapefruit, of course, will come from the Chinook as well. But yeah, passion fruit and grapefruit, and just a little bit of pine resin and kind of floral character. But really, the aroma on this one for me leans more towards the malty side than anything else. But I do suspect that when this beer is quite fresh, you will get a lot more hop out of it than I'm getting just now. It really does lean towards the malty side of things rather than anything else. But there may be, I'm not sure with triple IPAs if you need to give them a little bit of a longer maturation time or something like this, because with barley wines, of course, they're quite heavily hopped as well, and you do need to let them just mature at least 6 months before you get the optimum time out of them. I don't know if it says on the bottle exactly when this one was bottled or anything like that. That's one of the things. It was packaged on the 17th of the 5th, 2017, so it's about 2 months old, something like that, when I'm drinking this beer. So I would guess it should be fairly okay, but I would have thought there'd be more of a kind of hoppy aroma from it than anything else. But as long as it tastes good, doesn't really matter. But as I always say, just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck in. But we're going to try this one now. So this one is the Hoptimum, the new 2017 edition from Sierra Nevada Brewery, originally from Chico in California over in America. Slanja, skål. Yeah, there's a lot more hop in the flavour of this one than there is coming out in the aroma. So that's a good thing, definitely. But you can feel the nice big boozy character. This is really, really smooth. yeah, I have to say, they've done a nice job with that. I would have loved to have tried the 10.4% one and just done a comparison, because from what I gather, I did a little bit of research before I actually tried this beer on the triple IPAs. 9.6% does seem a little bit low in comparison to some of the European triple IPAs that are going around. A lot of the European ones are up there at around the 10.5, sort of 11% mark, where the original Hoptimum was. But it's certainly a nice beer, and you wouldn't expect anything less from Sierra Nevada, of course. But yeah, as I always say, just sugar the beer around your palate a little bit and let your whole mouth adjust to it before you start analysing the flavour too much. But with this one, it's quite interesting. It's got a nice, the malt base on this is kind of what you would expect. You've got a nice little bit of bready character there, but it's a very oily beer, this one. It's even more oily than some of the barley wines that I've come across, actually. And of course the pale ales, the IPAs, the double IPAs, and then the barley wines, these beers are all related by their malt to hops ratio. And of course they get progressively more malty as you kind of go up the chain. And of course they do get more hoppy, but I believe the malt increases and the hops increase as well, but the malt increases at a faster rate than the hops do. But this one to me is a really quite oily beer with the mouthfeel. But you've got a nice little bit of that bready character there. You can feel some of the pale ale malt coming out of this. But there's a lot of caramel and kind of biscuity character there as well. The one thing that it does is it covers the alcohol really quite well. Maybe that's why they've reduced it, actually. Maybe at 10.4%. It did just have a little bit too much kind of alcohol burn or something like that. But that said, the beer had a rating of 99 or so on Rate Beer, so it probably wouldn't. And if it had that, I would doubt that Sierra Nevada would actually put it out there. But it's a really big, oily malt base in this one. A lot of caramel, a lot of biscuit. It's got a little bit of an almost butterscotchy flavour as you progress into the aftertaste as well, which is really quite interesting. So yeah, just take a little bit of time and enjoy that aspect of the beer. But it's really nice, and that dark, it's a little bit toasted as well, I would say. That dark boozy caramel, it mixes well with the fruity notes that you're getting from the hops, and on the sides of your palate, and this is where the hops will come out, you get a little teeny bit of earthiness there on the sides of your tongue, but as you come further forward along the side you can feel that nice kind of pine resin character just underpinning the beer, and on top of that you start to get some of these kind of floral aromatic notes. There's a little bit of an almost spicy character to it as well, but mainly it's the pine resins, and the pine resins start to push their way out as you progress further and further into the flavour. Around the front curve of the tongue it just gets a little bit lighter and a little bit grassy, but you can feel that kind of dank floral aromaticity and the dark pine resins just still underpinning the beer around the front curve of your tongue. So it's a really nice beer. I mean, that sums it up. It is a really nice beer, but we want to look at the flavours a little bit more closely. Yeah, that's really nice. So just behind the front curve of the palate, you'll get this little oily bubble, and that's where all your fruity esters start to come out. So you can feel the grapefruit just kind of underpinning that. That'll be from the Chinook, and then on top of that, you start to get the passion fruit and a little bit of the mango. The passion fruit for me is the one that's most noticeable, and that's coming from the Simcoe, of course, and then the Citra starts to, you get a little bit of that juicy mango just as you progress a little bit further into the aftertaste. Normally with the Citra you would get a little bit of a kind of lychee or gooseberry, or maybe even a little bit of a lemon limey flavour coming out of it, but you really don't get that much of that with this beer, which is interesting. So I think the malty characters, the big booziness that this beer has, starts to cover that up a little bit. And I mean, in the middle of the palate, the beer does have a little bit of an almost kind of medicinal quality to it, which is quite interesting as well. So, you know, it's really interesting this to see how the triple IPA comes across. Like I said, the beer is about 2 months old in the bottle, and there's and to be honest, in that kind of time scale, usually you have to leave them in the bottle to kind of mature, and it will be timed with Cis Jambalaya. This one, I think, it doesn't quite have the IBUs that I was expecting it would have. That's the thing that I'm finding quite unusual about this beer. I thought it would be quite a bit heavier in IBUs than it is. There's maybe about 60 or 70 or so IBUs in that. I would have thought a triple IPA, especially when you've got Chinook in it, of course. Chinook is a beast of a hop. I thought it would have had a lot more IBUs than it does, but it's a big kind of syrupy beer. This is one I guess you want to share with your friends. I'm going to share the rest of this with my dad, I think. But overall, it's a really quite nice beer. But like I said, I would have loved to have tried the original 10.4% one and just seen how it comes out. But I think a lot of the kind of hoppy notes that you get from the triple IPA, they start to be overpowered a little bit by the malty aspects of the beer at this stage. So maybe the double IPA is the optimum sort of thing, or maybe you have to take it a little bit higher with the alcohol and put even more hops in it. But it's a really interesting beer to try, and like I said, this was my kind of first review of the triple IPA style on the channel. But it's got some really nice fruity aspects to it. It's a nice kind of medicinal boozy beer, this, rather than anything. So it's a style I definitely need to explore a little bit more. And as I said, what better place to start with it than Sierra Nevada, of course. In terms of the mouthfeel then, I would say this beer is pretty full-bodied. The carbonation's very smooth. It's more of an oily mouthfeel than anything else. There is a good little bit of hoppy bitterness to it, but it's nowhere near as hoppy and bitter as some of the beers I've come across in other reviews. The malt base has a good bit of sweetness to it. Like I said, there's a bit of an almost medicinal quality to this beer, and it's got some nice kind of juicy fruits as well, but it certainly doesn't have the IBUs that I expected it would. I thought this would be up near the kind of 100 mark or even beyond that. I think it's only 100 we can detect, but the strongest IBUs that I've had in a beer were the 1000 IBUs with the Mikkeller beer, the 1000 IBU, which was a monster of a beer. But with this one, it certainly is. It's a really interesting beer, but it's not quite what I expected. So if you get the chance to try this one, do have a go at it, because it's very, very interesting, and it will be interesting to see how this style progresses as well. So I need to look out some other examples of triple IPAs, and hopefully I can review these for you on the channel as well. But this one certainly is a really nice beer, but just not quite what I was expecting. I was expecting really an even hoppier double IPA or something like that. But yeah, it's been really cool to try this one, so I hope you guys have enjoyed my take on it. I can feel the alcohol from this one as well. At 9.6%, you know, it is going to get to you after a wee while, but a really interesting beer, and I'm glad that I got to review it for you guys. So as always, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Make sure you check out my social media. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. I would be interested to hear how you guys think the new version of this, the 9.6 one, compares to the original 10.4, so do let me know that. Let me know your favourite beers from Sierra Nevada as well, and until the next time, check out all the usual social media. Let me know some other beers that I should be trying for you on the channel, and do support your local craft breweries. So thank you once again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. The Hoptimum 2017 edition from Sierra Nevada over in Chico, California in the USA. Slàinte just now.